Welcome back to the channel, tennis fans, because what we are witnessing right now in women's tennis feels like the beginning of something truly historic. Across the grass courts of Europe, one story has suddenly exploded beyond rankings, beyond statistics, beyond even the tournaments themselves. And at the center of it all stands a 21-year-old left-hander from the Philippines who is rapidly becoming one of the most talked about players in the entire sport. Alexandra Eala. The atmosphere surrounding Alex Eala right now is unlike anything we have seen from a Southeast Asian tennis player in years. Every match she plays suddenly feels larger than the score line itself. Every victory feels connected to something bigger. And after what happened in Berlin against world number 2 Elena Rybakina, the tennis world is no longer asking whether she belongs at this level. Now the question is far more dangerous. How far can she actually go? Because what unfolded on the grass in Berlin was not simply another second-round match at a WTA 500 tournament. It became a collision between established power and rising belief, between proven greatness and fearless ambition, between a Wimbledon champion and a young player beginning to realize she no longer needs permission to dream bigger. And by the time it ended, the entire stadium was talking about Alex Eala's reaction. Not because it was loud, because it was real. Berlin, Germany, June 2026. The grass courts at the Steffi Graf Stadion looked almost unreal under the afternoon light, trimmed perfectly, fast enough to reward aggressive shot makers and dangerous enough to expose even the smallest weakness in movement or timing. This was supposed to be another important preparation week before Wimbledon. Instead, it became something much bigger. There is a version of this story where Alex Eala never even reaches the stage. A version where she quietly enters qualifying rounds, loses early, and disappears into the endless grind professional tennis demands from young players trying to climb the rankings. That version never happened. Instead, Eala received a wildcard entry into the Berlin Open just days before the tournament began. At first, it looked like a simple opportunity, another chance to gain experience against elite competition. But then the draw arrived, and suddenly everything changed. Because standing in her path first was Donna Vekic, one of the hottest players in the sport after her remarkable title run at the Queen's Club Championships. Vekic arrived in Berlin overflowing with confidence. She had just completed one of the most improbable grass court stories of the year, entering Queen's Club as a lucky loser before storming through the field and defeating Emma Raducanu in the final. The Croatian looked unstoppable. Grass suited her perfectly. Her flat ground strokes skidded through the court. Her first serve became a weapon. Her experience mattered. Most analysts expected her momentum to continue. Alex Eala destroyed all of those expectations. The Filipina stepped onto the court and immediately dictated play with fearless aggression, sharp lefty angles, and one of the cleanest serving performances of her season. She beat Vekic in straight sets, extending her head-to-head dominance and sending a message through the entire tournament. But as impressive as that victory was, it only created something even bigger. A second-round showdown with Elena Rybakina. And that is where this story truly exploded. Because Rybakina is not just another top player. She is one of the most feared grass court competitors on earth. The 2022 Wimbledon champion. A Grand Slam winner. A player whose serve sounds like thunder when it connects cleanly. A player who, at her best, makes even elite opponents look powerless. Earlier in the year, these two had already met once at the Italian Open in Rome. On clay, Rybakina won in straight sets. But the scoreline hid the truth. That match was far more competitive than expected. Eala pushed her, extended rallies, forced uncomfortable movement, created problems. And afterward, Rybakina admitted something that quietly caught attention around the tennis world. It's always challenging to play against a lefty. That sentence mattered. Because elite players rarely hand out compliments casually. And when the world number 2 publicly acknowledges discomfort against an opponent she just defeated, it tells you the matchup is more dangerous than it initially appeared. Now the rematch was happening on grass. A completely different surface. A completely different rhythm. And perhaps most importantly, a completely different Alex Eala. Because somewhere between Rome and Berlin, something in her game evolved. Her grass court record entering the tournament was extraordinary. 7 wins in 8 matches. A title in Birmingham. Growing confidence on serve. Better movement. Better tactical discipline. Better control under pressure. The player arriving in Berlin was no longer simply a talented prospect trying to gain experience. This was a player beginning to build identity. A player starting to understand exactly how she wanted to compete against the best in the world. And all of it became visible the moment the match against Rybakina began. The atmosphere inside the stadium felt tense from the first ball. Fans leaned forward. Phones came out. Every rally carried unusual weight because everyone sensed the possibility of something memorable happening. Rybakina entered the court carrying pressure of her own. Despite her ranking, recent form had become inconsistent. Shock losses earlier in the grass season raised uncomfortable questions about confidence and rhythm. Her first serve percentage had dipped dramatically in previous matches, and suddenly she was facing one of the trickiest possible opponents for a player searching for stability. A left-hander, a counterpuncher, a mover, someone capable of changing the geometry of rallies completely. And Eala understood it. She attacked the match without hesitation. Her serve placement immediately caused problems. Wide slices dragged Rybakina off the court. Flat backhands stayed low through the grass. Her movement looked fearless. Most importantly, she refused to appear intimidated by the occasion. That psychological detail changed everything. Against many lower-ranked players, Rybakina establishes dominance quickly. Opponents become passive. They start respecting her power too much. They retreat behind the baseline and allow her to dictate. Eala did the opposite. She stepped forward. She redirected pace. She challenged Rybakina physically and mentally. And slowly, something remarkable started happening inside the stadium. The crowd began believing. Because tennis crowds can feel momentum emotionally before scoreboards fully show it. They sense when a favorite becomes uncomfortable. They sense when belief starts transferring from one side of the court to the other. Every long rally amplified the tension. Every successful return from Eala increased the noise. Every hold of serve felt increasingly important. And through all of it, Alex Eala carried herself with extraordinary calm. That calm became one of the defining images of the match. Not forced confidence. Not fake swagger. Just composure. The composure of someone who genuinely believed she belonged there. Afterward, pieces of her mindset began emerging through interviews and reactions around the tournament. "I'm also a fighter," she said earlier in Berlin after defeating Donna Vekic. That sentence suddenly felt even more meaningful now. Because this entire run was beginning to reveal something fundamental about who Alexandra Eala is as a competitor. She does not disappear when matches become emotionally heavy. She becomes sharper. And that is a terrifying quality in elite sport, especially at 21 years old. Throughout the match against Rybakina, analysts started highlighting the same thing repeatedly. Her serve. For years, critics argued Eala's serve remained the biggest weakness, separating her from the top tier of women's tennis. Former players questioned its consistency. Opponents attacked second serves aggressively. There were moments earlier in her career where it looked vulnerable under pressure. Not anymore. Against elite opposition on grass, her serving suddenly looked transformed. Cleaner rhythm, better placement, smarter variation. And when pressure moments arrived, she trusted it. That mattered enormously because serving under pressure is not just technical. It is psychological. You cannot fake confidence behind the line against the world's best returners. Either you trust your motion or you don't. And in Berlin, Eala looked like a player finally trusting her own evolution. The deeper the match went, the more electric the atmosphere became. Filipino fans across the world flooded social media with reactions. Commentators began openly discussing the possibility that this could become one of the most important victories ever achieved by a Filipino tennis player. But what made the moment unforgettable was not just the tennis itself. It was what happened emotionally afterward. Because when the match finally ended, Alex Eala's reaction stunned the stadium precisely because it felt so human. She did not collapse dramatically. She did not scream toward the crowd. She did not create a performance for cameras.
Instead, she paused.
took a long breath, looked around the stadium slowly, almost like she was trying to absorb the reality of what had just happened before it disappeared. And in that quiet moment, the crowd understood exactly how much this meant. Not just professionally, personally, because behind every breakthrough in tennis lives years of invisible sacrifice most people never see. The travel, the pressure, the loneliness, the expectations, the fear of stagnation, the endless repetition. Alex Eala has carried not only her own ambitions, but also the hopes of an entire tennis nation searching for history. And standing there in Berlin, against one of the sport's biggest names, she looked like someone realizing the dream was no longer hypothetical. It was becoming real. That is why the reaction resonated so powerfully. It was not about celebration. It was about arrival. Now Wimbledon waits. The rankings are climbing. The possibility of securing a protected seed grows stronger. And the rest of the tennis world is beginning to understand something that fans in the Philippines already believed long ago. Alexandra Eala is no longer simply a future star.